In the depths of World War II, there existed a terrifying secret that haunted the German High Command. A wooden aircraft, built from plywood and balsa, had become the most feared weapon in the Allied arsenal. This was not the mighty Flying Fortress or the legendary Spitfire, but rather an unassuming twin-engine bomber that would strike terror into the hearts of Luftwaffe pilots across occupied Europe. The de Havilland DH-98 Mosquito had earned a deadly reputation that would make it the most frequently discussed Allied aircraft in German military circles between 1942 and 1945. The story begins in 1938, when Geoffrey de Havilland and his design team at Hatfield proposed what seemed like an impossible concept. They envisioned an unarmed, high-speed bomber constructed entirely from wood that could outrun any fighter sent to intercept it. The Air Ministry was skeptical, but the dark genius of this design would soon become apparent. The Mosquito's construction from laminated wood allowed it to be built by furniture manufacturers, utilizing a workforce and materials that were not competing with traditional aircraft production. This seemingly simple decision would later prove to be one of the most strategically brilliant moves of the entire war. When the first production Mosquito took to the skies in 1941, it immediately shattered expectations. The aircraft achieved a maximum speed exceeding 400 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest operational aircraft in the world at that time. However, what made the Mosquito truly terrifying for German defenders was not just its speed, but its versatility. The aircraft could perform as a high-altitude photo reconnaissance plane, a precision bomber, a night fighter, or a deadly intruder aircraft, switching roles with frightening efficiency. The Mosquito's baptism of fire came on July 13, 1941, when the first production reconnaissance variant was delivered to No. 1 Photographic Reconnaissance Unit at Royal Air Force Benson. These early missions were shrouded in secrecy as the Mosquito photographed German installations across occupied Europe, flying too high and too fast for interceptors to reach. But it was the bomber variants that would truly earn the aircraft its fearsome reputation among German forces. On November 15, 1941, No. 105 Squadron took delivery of their first operational Mosquito Mark IV bomber at Royal Air Force Swanton Morley. The crews who flew these early missions discovered they possessed a weapon unlike anything that had come before. The Mosquito could carry a 4,000-pound bomb load over 1,500 miles, delivering devastating precision strikes while maintaining speeds that made interception nearly impossible. Yet what truly made German commanders lose sleep was the aircraft's ability to appear anywhere, at any time without warning. The terror began in earnest during 1942 when Mosquito crews started their daylight low-level attack missions. These operations were unlike anything the Luftwaffe had experienced. Traditional bomber formations could be tracked by radar, predicted by intelligence, and countered by fighters or flak. However, the Mosquito operated alone or in small formations, approaching targets at treetop level at speeds approaching 400 miles per hour. German ground controllers found themselves facing an impossible tactical problem. How do you defend against an aircraft that combines the payload of a bomber with the speed and maneuverability of a fighter? The psychological impact on German forces was immediate and devastating. Luftwaffe pilots began reporting encounters with aircraft that seemed to appear from nowhere, deliver their deadly cargo, and vanish before effective countermeasures could be deployed. The Mosquito's wooden construction made it difficult to detect on primitive radar systems, while its speed made visual interception nearly impossible. German fighter pilots, accustomed to engaging slower bomber formations, found themselves outpaced by an aircraft that could match their own performance while carrying a significant bomb load. On September 19, 1942, the ultimate humiliation occurred. Two Mosquitoes of No. 105 Squadron attacked Berlin in broad daylight, penetrating the heart of the Reich and bombing the city, while German fighters scrambled helplessly below. When Hermann Göring was informed of the attack, he reportedly flew into a rage, demanding to know how two wooden aircraft had made a mockery of German air defenses. This mission marked the beginning of what German crews would later call Moskitoschreck, or mosquito terror. The technical specifications of the Mosquito revealed why it posed such a unique threat to German defenses. Powered by two Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, producing 1,690 horsepower each, the aircraft could achieve a maximum speed of 415 miles per hour at altitude. Its range of 1,955 miles meant it could strike targets deep within occupied Europe and return to British bases. However, what made the Mosquito truly deadly was its armament flexibility. Fighter-bomber variants carried 420mm Hispano cannons and 4.303 caliber machine guns, providing devastating firepower for ground attack missions. The construction details of the Mosquito were equally remarkable and terrifying for German intelligence analysts. The aircraft's fuselage was built using a sandwich construction technique, with balsa wood cores between birch plywood skins. This method not only made the aircraft lightweight, but also incredibly strong, allowing it to withstand the stresses of high-speed flight and violent combat maneuvers. The wings were constructed using a similar technique, with the entire aircraft held together by thousands of screws and a special adhesive that created joints stronger than the wood itself. German engineers studying captured Mosquito fragments were astounded by the sophistication of the design. The aircraft incorporated advanced aerodynamic features that reduced drag and increased performance, while the wooden construction provided unexpected benefits. Unlike metal aircraft, the Mosquito's wood structure was more resilient to battle damage, as cannon shells would often pass through the wood without causing catastrophic structural failure. This resilience meant that Mosquito crews could return from missions with damage that would have destroyed conventional aircraft. The operational history of the Mosquito reads like a catalog of German nightmares. During Operation Oyster, on December 6, 1942, Mosquitoes from numbers 105 and 139 squadrons participated in a devastating daylight raid against the Phillips Works at Eindhoven. The German defenders, expecting to face slower, more vulnerable bombers, were caught completely off guard by the speed and precision of the Mosquito attack. The factory, which was crucial to German radar production, was severely damaged, setting back German defensive capabilities by months. However, it was the Mosquito's role as a night intruder that truly terrorized German forces. These aircraft would lurk in the darkness around German airfields, waiting for the moment when German night fighters would attempt to land after missions. The Mosquito pilots, flying with remarkable skill and courage, would swoop down on the vulnerable German aircraft, catching them at their most defenseless moment. German pilots began to report a constant fear of the unseen wooden predator that could strike without warning from the black sky above. The numbers tell a chilling story of German vulnerability. Mosquito night fighters were responsible for destroying more than 600 Luftwaffe aircraft over Germany, while also accounting for an equal number of V-1 flying bombs over England and the English Channel. The aircraft's success rate was unprecedented, with some squadrons achieving kill ratios that defied belief. The psychological impact was even greater than the physical destruction, as German pilots began to suffer from what their own commanders described as Mosquito terror. The most famous demonstration of Mosquito capability came on January 30, 1943, the 10th anniversary of Hitler's rise to power. As Hermann Göring delivered a speech commemorating the occasion, two Mosquitoes appeared over Berlin and attacked the main broadcasting station, knocking Göring's speech off the air. The symbolism was unmistakable. The wooden aircraft had silenced the voice of the Reich itself. German propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels was reportedly furious, demanding to know how British aircraft could penetrate German defenses with such impunity. The German response to the Mosquito threat revealed the depth of their concern. Luftwaffe High Command issued repeated orders for the development of countermeasures, but the solutions proved elusive. While Germany possessed fighters theoretically capable of intercepting the Mosquito, few were equipped with the specialized engines, superchargers, or boost systems needed to match its performance at altitude. The Messerschmitt Bf109G series, equipped with nitrous oxide boost systems, showed promise, but these modifications were complex and expensive to implement across the entire fighter force. The introduction of the Focke-Wulf FW190 in late 1941 provided some hope for German defenders. This radial-engined fighter possessed the speed and firepower to potentially match the Mosquito, but encounters between the two aircraft revealed the limitations of German tactics. Mosquito pilots learned to use their aircraft's superior handling characteristics rather than pure speed to evade interception. The wooden aircraft could outturn most German fighters while maintaining energy, allowing skilled pilots to escape from seemingly hopeless situations. The production figures for the Mosquito told a story that filled German planners with dread. By 1943, the Royal Air Force had ordered thousands of additional aircraft, with mass production beginning not only in the United Kingdom, but also in Canada and Australia. The total production of 7,781 Mosquitoes would make it one of the most numerous advanced aircraft of the war. However, what truly terrified German strategic planners was the realization that wooden construction allowed parallel production without interfering with metal aircraft manufacturing. The Canadian production facility at Downsview, north of Toronto, alone produced 1,134 Mosquitoes between 1942 and 1945. This meant that the Allies could expand Mosquito production without reducing the output of Spitfires, Hurricanes, or other metal aircraft. German intelligence reports noted with growing alarm that the Mosquito represented a strategic breakthrough in aircraft manufacturing that they could not easily counter. The versatility of the Mosquito continued to confound German defenses throughout 1943 and 1944. The aircraft's ability to switch between roles meant that German commanders could never predict where or how it would strike next. Photo reconnaissance Mosquitoes flew daily missions over occupied Europe, photographing German installations and providing intelligence for future attacks. These high-altitude missions were virtually impossible to intercept, as the pressurized variants could operate at altitudes exceeding 40,000 feet. The bomber variants of the Mosquito were equally troublesome for German defenses. Unlike the massive formations of American flying fortresses or British Lancasters, Mosquito bombers operated in small groups or individually, making them difficult to track and counter. Their speed allowed them to penetrate German airspace, deliver precision strikes, and escape before effective opposition could be mounted. The psychological impact of these attacks was enormous, as German civilians and military personnel alike realized that no target was safe from the wooden terror. One of the most spectacular Mosquito operations occurred on February 18, 1944, when 19 aircraft from Royal Air Force Huntston attacked Amiens Prison in Operation Jericho. The precision required for this mission was extraordinary, as the Mosquito crews had to breach the prison walls without harming the French resistance fighters imprisoned within. The attack succeeded brilliantly, with the Mosquitoes delivering their bombs with surgical precision, allowing more than 100 prisoners to escape. The mission demonstrated the Mosquito's capability for precision strikes that were impossible with conventional bombers. The German night fighter force found itself in an increasingly desperate situation as Mosquito intruder operations intensified. The Heinkel HE-219, Germany's most advanced night fighter, was specifically developed partly in response to the Mosquito threat. This twin-engine aircraft possessed the speed and firepower to potentially counter the wooden intruder, but German pilots found that theoretical capability and operational reality were very different things. The Mosquito's superior handling characteristics and the skill of its crews continued to give it advantages that paper specifications could not overcome. The terror experienced by German aircrews is captured in their own accounts of encounters with the Mosquito. Luftwaffe pilot reports describe aircraft that seemed to appear from nowhere. deliver devastating attacks, and vanish before effective countermeasures could be deployed. The constant fear of mosquito attack during nighttime operations led to a phenomenon German commanders called Moskitoschreck, a form of combat stress specifically related to the fear of encountering the wooden aircraft. The technical evolution of the Mosquito continued throughout the war, with each new variant presenting fresh challenges for German defenses. The PR Mark 32 photo reconnaissance version featured extended wings and specialized high-altitude superchargers that raised its operating ceiling to 42,000 feet. At this altitude, the aircraft was virtually untouchable by German interceptors, allowing it to photograph strategic targets across occupied Europe with impunity. The fighter-bomber variants of the Mosquito proved equally devastating in their assigned roles. The F.B. Mark 6, armed with 4 20mm cannons and 4 machine guns, became the scourge of German transportation networks. These aircraft would attack trains, trucks, and supply convoys with devastating effect, their speed allowing them to strike and escape before defensive fighters could respond. The psychological impact on German logistics personnel was enormous, as they realized that no convoy or transport was safe from the wooden predator. The Mosquito's success in anti-shipping operations added another dimension to German fears. Operating from bases in Britain and the Mediterranean, Mosquito squadrons attacked German shipping with remarkable success. The aircraft's speed and armament made it ideal for these missions, as it could approach targets at low level, deliver devastating attacks, and escape before naval defenses could respond effectively. German naval commanders found themselves facing an opponent that combined the speed of a fighter with the striking power of a bomber. The development of specialized Mosquito variants for different roles demonstrated the aircraft's fundamental design excellence. The bomber variants could carry 4,000 pounds of bombs over distances exceeding 1,500 miles, while maintaining speeds that made interception difficult. The fighter variants possessed firepower that could destroy the largest German aircraft, while retaining the speed and maneuverability to engage single-seat fighters on equal terms. This versatility meant that German defenders could never predict what type of threat they would face when Mosquitoes appeared. The production quality of the Mosquito was another source of German concern. Unlike many wartime aircraft that suffered from quality control issues due to rapid production, the Mosquito maintained consistently high standards throughout the war. The wooden construction required skilled craftsmen, and the aircraft was built to tolerances that ensured reliable performance. German technical intelligence reports, noted with alarm that captured Mosquito components, showed a level of manufacturing sophistication that rivaled their own best aircraft. The impact of the Mosquito on German strategy became increasingly apparent as the war progressed. Resources that should have been devoted to offensive operations were instead diverted to defensive measures against the wooden aircraft. German fighter production priorities were influenced by the need to counter the Mosquito threat, while anti-aircraft defenses were strengthened around key targets that had been attacked by the fast bombers. The aircraft had effectively forced Germany into a defensive posture that limited their strategic options. The psychological warfare aspect of Mosquito operations cannot be overlooked. The aircraft's ability to appear anywhere at any time created a sense of vulnerability among German forces that extended far beyond the physical damage inflicted. The knowledge that no target was safe from the wooden aircraft undermined German morale and forced constant vigilance that degraded operational efficiency. German commanders found themselves having to plan for threats that could materialize without warning from any direction. The evolution of German countermeasures against the Mosquito reveals the depth of their concern about the aircraft. The development of specialized high-altitude interceptors, improved radar systems, and enhanced anti-aircraft defenses all reflected German recognition of the unique threat posed by the wooden aircraft. However, these countermeasures proved largely ineffective against an opponent that could adapt its tactics faster than defensive systems could be developed. The final phase of the war saw the Mosquito reach its peak effectiveness, with variants optimized for every conceivable role. The aircraft's success had vindicated Geoffrey de Havilland's original concept of an unarmed fast bomber, while proving that innovation and clever design could overcome apparent material disadvantages. The wooden construction that had initially seemed like a limitation had proven to be a strategic advantage that allowed unprecedented production flexibility. The legacy of the Mosquito's impact on German forces extends beyond mere statistics of aircraft destroyed or missions completed. The wooden aircraft had demonstrated that technological innovation could overcome numerical disadvantages, while psychological warfare could be as effective as physical destruction. German recognition of the Mosquito as their most feared Allied opponent was a testament to the aircraft's revolutionary design and the skill of the crews who flew it into the heart of the Reich night after night. The story of why the Luftwaffe feared the Mosquito is ultimately a story of innovation, triumphing over convention, of wooden aircraft outperforming metal ones, and of a small team of British designers creating a weapon that would haunt German nightmares for the remainder of World War II. The aircraft's ability to combine speed, versatility, and precision in a single platform had created a threat that German defenses could never adequately counter, earning it a place in history as the wooden wonder that terrorized the Third Reich.